This is the 40th episode of this series. As I read this, I am also 40. When I first started this show's Season 0, I didn't dream I'd have the kind of support you guys have given me to make it this far. We're a pretty small community, but I'm always glad to see commenters both regular and brand new. Thank you. What do you think of when you hear Sunsoft? Blaster Master? Fester's Quest? Maybe Clock Tower? Me personally, I remember the NES Batman game with its amazing Stage 1 theme, Streets of Desolation. Hell yeah. You might remember them from the many other Warner Brothers licenses they picked up back in the day, actually, from the Looney Tunes to the Justice League, and they were also responsible for unique titles like Arrow the Acrobat and the Japan-only Albert Odyssey. Today I learned about Albert Odyssey, and together we'll learn about this game. I'm Eric J. Chucky, and welcome to Violent Profiles, where we discuss obscure fighting games and the rosters that define them. If you're like me and you like to walk down the memory lanes of nostalgia you may or may not have experienced, hit the like button. Subscribe, leave a comment, share the video with your friends. I put a lot of effort into these, and I don't know, it'd be cool if more people saw them. Thanks. Today we're talking about the 1995 Sunsoft release, Galaxy Fight Universal Warriors. This little title has seen action in the arcades, on Neo Geo, Sega Saturn, and even the PlayStation, as well as a re-release with other noteworthy Neo Geo titles on the 8th generation of consoles, and yet somehow it passed right by me. While not Sunsoft's first foray into the FGC, it's the first one I'm going to be talking about. Sugoi Hibaraki here is a unique little arena fighter, one of the first, but despite him being Sunsoft's mascot for a while, there isn't a lot of character info on the roster, and that's kind of what we do on this show. It's weird to think this cute little entry shares DNA with the likes of Thrill Kill. Our story is as follows. Once in 1,000 years, the ancient texts say, a god takes physical form and appears in the galaxy. According to the timekeepers of the planet Denius in the Milky Way system, the 1,000th year has arrived. The god that the galaxy has been waiting to greet has arrived. But he is not a being of light. He is the god of evil and controls the powers of darkness. He calls himself Feldenkrais. He is endless, all-encompassing, all-powerful, and with his power he desires to rule the galaxy. No one stands before the dark power of this super being. The races of the galaxy can only suffer in silence and wait for a savior to come. And that's it. Just a snippet in the manual, no deep allusions to esoteric mythology, no storied histories, just a guy who calls himself the most made-up sounding name I've heard in a while, and, oh, that's a good god, I say as I pet on God. No, I'm bad god, said bad god. I love it. Let's roll with it. We usually cover these in a logical order of importance, how they're listed in the manual, or I find a way to save my favorites for last, but let's just do Galaxy Fight right to left as they appear on the select screen. Why not? That means we're starting with Musafar. No, not the lava planet from Star Wars, that's Musafar. Musafar is a battle robot created by the Farkill Empire, their latest technology which has been entered into the conflict to gather data on battle techniques. This implies some sort of official opt-in contest, but nothing in the text of the game explains that. Each bio has the usual stats like height and weight, plus a few others to give us some insight into the character's personality, and as mentioned previously, their reason for entering. For example, Musafar likes oil and electricity, hates rust, and otherwise has no interests, treasures, or family, as he is a prototype model. His character, which is a brief personality descriptor, is listed as the direct type. As an interesting teaser, Musafar's sex and age are listed as unknown instead of something cheeky or appropriately robotic. That's because, as is revealed in his ending, he was a living person experimented on by the Farkill Empire to become a clunky cyborg bent to their whims. After giving it a thought, he decides he's not cool with this, so he flies off to eradicate them, and he probably will, because he just killed God. You may have noticed the Farkill Empire is instead called the Fakir Empire in the game text. The manual even includes a third option, the Fakill Empire. This game are bad translation, which is going to be a lot of fun going forward. Cheerful and flaky, Roomie of the planet Rutija is good lord, madam. I'm gonna guess those things on her chest are some of the round critters from the background of her stage trapped beneath her shirt and not anything else because the jiggle physics on those pixels are wild. Anyway, Roomie left her home to seek fame and fortune, inspired by her brief possession of a galactic radio to become a pop idol. Her method for doing this is to fight God. Look, your name is Roomie, you want to be a pop idol, you gotta either fight God or demons. I don't make the rules. She plays like if Felicia from Darkstalkers were actually self-trained, almost agile, kinda acrobatic, mostly not the best at fighting. But she makes up for it with enthusiasm. You know, the longer I look at the background of Roomie's stage, the more fascinated I become. Did that bear thing just sneeze on those two little cat guys and knock them out? What's the deal with the hand banana mecha Shiva here?
Tonight, you.
I guess if Roomie's vibe is too late 80s anime for your mid-90s sensibilities, here's a ninja. Kazuma is also known as the Dark Wind, and his dream is to carry on the martial arts tradition taught to him by his late father, surpassing him in strength and ability. Unlike Roomie, killing a god actually seems like a valid way to prove this. He uses his father's katana and spins around a lot, all good ninja stuff. Kazuma likes Twilight, hates noisy people, and has an interest in calligraphy. The manual describes him as the silent type, so I'm gonna guess he was Team Edward. After you render Feldon into smoldering ruin, he and Kazuma get to chatting and discover that Feldon was defeated once before by a man named Ro, who's still out there wandering around, fighting guys. This refers to a bonus boss who's playable via cheats. I don't know anything about him, none of the extra characters have endings, and unlike the other three, he doesn't even have a bio in the manual, so there you go. This is him. This is him fighting. He maybe killed Kazuma's dad. What a dillweed. We move now to the man who is most likely the main character, center of the box art, and first in the instruction book, Galactic Adventurer Rolf. He's a gun-toting space archaeologist from the outer world of Atlas, or Air-Ass, who sets aside his life of fast cars, trick shooting, and excitement to put a stop to Feldenkrais' evil, galaxy-dominating plans. Abandoned at birth, Rolf treasures his friends Karen, Barney, and Tetsuya and the memories they make, or made, and fears succumbing to new loneliness. To help him fight, he has an internal booster pack and a silver pack, which I'm gonna guess is the name of his gun. A lot of packs, this guy. Beat the game with him, and he gives an honorable speech over Feldon's smoking corpse, then flits off to stop an invasion on the feed system by the Dinosaur Empire with either his friends who look suspiciously like Kazuma and Musafar, or it is actually just Kazuma and Musafar and his previous friends are dead. He kinda reminds me of Roger Ramjet. Y'all remember him? No? Just me? What else is new? The next character, Juri, is described by the Department of Redundancy Department as the finest galactic robber in the galaxy, and she's probably my favorite fighter on the roster. Longtime watchers can guess why. I'm a nice man! No, it's because... Yeah, I'm a nice man! No, she does Taekwondo, you salacious goof. A hard woman who loves red wine and hates broken promises, Juri has a passion for fashion and is used to relying on herself because her family passed away when she was young. She's hoping to unlock the secret to eternal life, but that might be a metaphor, as when she defeats Feldenkrais, she delivers a monologue dripping with her mysterious backstory that you can almost hear hot jazz beneath. Despite a different, very 80s punker look, she reminds me a lot of Faye Valentine, which is weird, since Cowboy Bebop's original run started 2 years after this game dropped. Perhaps both characters share a similar common ancestor as inspiration. Our next combatant doesn't look like he goes here, like his art doesn't quite fit the rest of the game's graphics, as though he's from a different fighting game from the same developer, and this is Mugen or something. I'd probably be giving the designers too much credit to say it was an intentional choice, since he is a mysterious creature known as the Blank Man, with crushing headaches and no memories of his past, who many of the other characters treat with suspicion and confusion. The only thing that keeps him going is a voice inside his head, ever chasing its origin. If you looked at his name as presented, you'd call him G. Dunn, but the G stands for golden and it's pronounced Dawn. His only treasure is a necklace given to him by his deceased fiancée, which I assume is the one around his neck in-game. You know, maybe there is something being conveyed intentionally through the sprites. His default stance is bunched up and uncomfortable, his limbs seem to stretch slightly on certain attacks. When you beat the game with him, Feldon's disembodied voice laments losing to another myself. Golden Dawn insists all he ever wanted was real freedom, and Feldon calls him a fool. His demise means that Dawn will be the next in line. For what? Godlike ascension? Fighting tournament organization? Does that mean Feldenkrais was the voice in Dawn's head? Who was his fiancée? When did she come into the picture? Golden Dawn doesn't elaborate. He just puts his hands in his pockets and walks off into the distance saying, I know. That is ice cold and cool as hell. Holy shit, Golden Dawn rules. Hailing from planet Rosarius, or Rosaris, or Rosalis, is the Prince of the Lost Kingdom, a practitioner of arcane arts with an introverted personality who wishes to defeat Feldenkrais and ascend to his rightful throne. A brave 93-year-old warrior named not Simon, not Theodore, but... Alvan! He could have been the main character of the game. Oh, you're welcome. But he does read more as a fantasy trope than a sci-fi one, so I get why a Star-Lord type like Rolf is more the focus. I like his horn, I dig his magic powers, and his intense neutral stance and angsty dialogue paint a clear picture of the character fighting to reclaim what has been ruined by ancient and evil magic. In his ending, Alvan's homeworld is finally liberated from Feldon's curse, and he can at long last make the first move in his battle to bring country to life.
Let's go.
Our last traditionally playable character is Gunter Bolchi, the chosen of the famous clan of knights from a world called either Guljef or Gurdjef depending on your source. He's a hungry hero who thrives in tournaments and when babysitting children, but hates taking baths. He'd seem really stereotypical for a heroic character if it weren't for the fact that he's a giant fire-breathing rock lizard wolf thing. I like Gunter. He takes the familiar and makes it unique. He has a wife and child, but they all live with her dad, the clan leader. maybe because she disapproves of Gunter putting his life at risk against a living god. But in his ending she apologizes, understanding her husband is him, and will take on whatever threatens their people and their peace. I said earlier that the game has a few other boss characters who can become playable via code. First we have Bonus Kun, or Bonus Boy in the Western manual. He's a literal punching bag with a face on it, wearing a red bandana given to him by a tribe of warriors who has joined the battle to learn the secrets of martial arts. In most games that alone would mark him as the main character, but here he's just a silly mid-boss. Weirdly, we will be talking about him in a future episode. Then there's Jacopo, or Jacob if you insist on being extremely Western about it. This shape-shifting creature hails from the same planet as Roomie. You can even see some of his people in the background there, and can use his ability to assume the form and powers of any creature. Seems to him the easiest way to defeat Feldenkrais is to use his own power against him, so perhaps it's natural he's the penultimate boss of the game, having used his copy powers to make his way nearly to the end for a final confrontation. A few last notes on Feldenkrais. He actually has a full write-up in the manual where his sex is listed as all-encompassing, his maximum potential height is compared to a lightning bolt of all things, and his family is recorded as Fernandez and Feldbachov. I don't know who those guys are. Every time you kill him in the final battle, he reacts by saying, "What the? Ugh!" And he's so condescendingly sassy in his pre-match dialogue that I love him. What a good villain. Oh yeah, this game has pre- and post-match dialogue. Most of it isn't very noteworthy, putting over the concepts laid out in the manual and occasionally giving a few hints to the broader story of the game. Overall, this title isn't bad. It's aggressively feature-light, having only the story mode versus in a basic options menu, but the gameplay itself is acceptable and the visuals are pretty arresting. So why didn't it get a sequel? Well, that's hard to say. But Sunsoft did keep making fighting games, and we'll continue talking about them next season with Waku Waku 7. Yes, you heard me correctly. That is the name. Next month on Violent Profiles, I'd like to keep things nice and soft. Hudson Soft. If you want to be a real hero and see that episode early, find my Patreon in the link tree in the description and support what I do here at the $5 tier. You'll also get your name among the high scores on screen and access to Violent Profiles Season 0, as well as all kinds of other benefits. Plus, I get $5. That's more an incentive for me, but I like to think we're in this together, and you'll feel the same joy giving me $5 as I'll feel earning that $5 and using it to buy pants or something. Until next time, white out.